Well, the Jets do end up making all these moves after all. They bring in Javon Kinlaw, John Simpson, Tyrod Taylor, some big names maybe to come today. That and much more in today's version of NY Flight Jets Talk. Let's roll.
Jets, Jets. Let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend, Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
Well, here we are. The Jets finally make some moves last night after a rough start to the day when no one really expected them to make any moves. We end up bringing in Javon Kinlaw, 6'5", 319-pound tackle from the San Francisco 49ers. We bring in guard John Sampson, who is a beast against the run from the Baltimore Ravens. And then we bring in my favorite addition from last night, backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor. Great move. I look at that and I'm like, wow, the Jets really. I'm just psyched that we got a backup quarterback. I knew the Jets knew they had to do something there, but they finally addressed it. And man, I'm happy. I'm happy about it. Go in now. Tyrod is definitely one of the most proven, serviceable backup quarterbacks in my opinion in all of football. Happy to bring him in. I think it's a great addition. As we saw last year, we needed a backup quarterback. It was evident that this team struggled without a backup quarterback. And I mean, when Zach Wilson's your backup quarterback and Aaron Rodgers goes down, your season kind of just falls apart. So good that we brought them in. Guys, type in the chat what do you think some moves are that we can possibly see happening today. I don't know. I have a weird feeling that we're going to go out and get our wide receiver today. I hope we do. Joe Douglas, please don't wait until 11 o'clock at night tonight to actually act. But guys, pin comment in the chat if you'd like to call into the show. Would love to hear all of your opinions on the moves that happened last night and just free agency in general and just all things off season. Type in the chat what was your favorite signing from last night? Your favorite free agent signing from last night before we dig into all the free agents and what they're like. Like I said earlier, Tyrod Taylor was personally my favorite. Thought he was the best guy out there. Keuka Lake, Zeitler, hopefully Tyron Smith, Connor, aren't you supposed to be in school? Keuka Lake, I have parent-teacher conferences today, so I'm off from school, which is good. So I'm happy I could be here with you guys. Zeitler would be a great addition. I've always been big on Zeitler. It's probably my number one option for O-line, and then Tyron Smith is obviously the sexiest name out for the offensive line, offensive tackle specifically. I think if you get those two in, bring both them. If we can get both Zeitler and Smith, I will be so goddamn happy. I'll be so happy. Definitely agree with you, Keuka Lake there. Two really big name guys. And then that Zeitler, not so much big name. He's an older guy. You can kind of plug in, and he'll be solid. All right, let's go. Let's start digging into these free agents. So first, we're gonna start off with John Simpson. John Simpson is a guard from Baltimore that the Jets signed. I'm gonna let's see, where is this? I'm gonna pull up this article from The Athletic on Simpson. So what they had to say on the Jets bringing in guard John Simpson. Here we go. All right, there we go. You guys could see my screen. All right. So this is what they had to say about guard John Simpson. The interior offensive lineman market was booming to start NFL free agency, and the New York Jets the fray late Monday night when they agreed to sign Baltimore Ravens guard John Simpson to a 2-year deal worth up to $18 million. Stop there before we get into the next paragraph, kind of. I like the contract. I mean, this guy, from what I've seen, is great against the run, and I'm happy we went out and got a guard, which good. Good. We got a guard. Nice. Just made a move on the offensive line, which I like. The Athletics' Randy Mueller is high on Simpson in this free agency class, ranking him 18th overall and second among guards behind John Runyon. So Randy Mueller, former GM, who's on Boy Green show good amount of time, is a big fan of Simpson, which I like. Like to see a former GM liking a guy that the Jets signed. Let's see, where were we? Mueller wrote that Simpson plays with strength and physicality of an old school guard, and then he moves defenders in the pass game and run game. Simpson isn't coming off his best season, but the Jets desperately needed some offensive line help. I agree with that. Let's see how he fits. Simpson only had oh no. Yeah, no. Simpson will slot in as the starting left guard, replacing Laken Tomlinson, whom the Jets cut for cap savings before free agency and then used most of the savings to sign his replacement. Simpson signed on to the Ravens practice squad in 2020. So they basically put out this whole article on how he'll fit in. And, I'm going to take that off for a little, but I agree with what they're saying. I agree 100% with what they're saying there. I think he's a solid option. Let's see. Kuka Lake. Chris Long and his brother on their podcast praised Simpson. I did see that. Kuka Lake, I did see that. I did see them being really high on what's his name, Simpson. So I thought that was a good signing. Hey, we got our guard. I like that. Big fan of the move. Let's go. Let's check out the other signings of the night. Obviously, you have Kinlaw and you have Taylor. Like I mentioned, I think Taylor was the best signing of the night personally, just because we got our backup quarterback. We're set, like him, and he's a proven backup quarterback. He's proved that he can perform. He can perform as a backup quarterback. That's what he's shown. So let's go. Let's save Tyrod Taylor at the end since he was my favorite. But let's look into Javon Kinlaw. Javon Kinlaw, 6'5", 319 pounds. Just a absolute beast. And I hope to see him have some success with this team and plug him in with Quinnen. He'll be very solid, my opinion. Plug him in with Quinnen, he'll be a very, very solid player. So let's check out Kinlaw. All right, he stands, like I mentioned, 6'5", 319 pounds. He is 26, I believe. Yeah, he's 26. He went to South Carolina. Now let's check out his stats from the last season, 2023 season. Guys, thank you. We have 100 people in here right now. Appreciate all the support. So as we've seen, let's stick with the 49ers and Kinlaw. As we saw, I assume most of you guys saw, not unfortunately, because I don't really care, it's the Niners, but Eric Armstead was cut, and Kinlaw played next to Armstead most of his actual career. Kinlaw was next to Armstead, and Armstead obviously very successful, interested in where Armstead lands. But Kinlaw's stats from the 2023 season, 17 games, 6 games started, 0 interceptions. Let's see how many sacks. He had 3.5 sacks, 13 solo tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 12 assists. Hey, depending on the price, the price is not horrible, but that deal personally, I look at that and I'm like, wow, that's a good deal for a guy like Kinlaw. You can plug in and he'll be a very solid player. I was happy to see Joe Douglas going out there aggressive last night. Aggressive. He wasn't timid. He was aggressive, which I really like to see. He was timid. He was timid in the beginning. He was timid early yesterday until about 11:30 when he kind of just, boom. He lit a fire under himself and just went all out. So that was Kinlaw. Solid, okay numbers for probably the price we got him. I'll take Kinlaw. I mean, big guy, someone to replace Al Woods against the run, which I like. Now let's go into Taylor. So Tyrod Taylor, was the backup quarterback for the Giants these past few years. He's proved he can be a backup in this league. He's a one-time Pro Bowler. He's won a Super Bowl. 34 years old. I hope to never see him play, but if he has to play, I feel very, very comfortable. Very, very comfortable if he has to play, but don't want to see him. Don't want to have to see him. Don't want to have to see him. But if we have to plug him in at a point, man, I'll be more comfortable than Zach Wilson. So he played in, let's see, we're 2023. Looks like he played in 11 games. Yes, 11 games. He went 2-9, which I mean the Giants just he appeared in 11 games. He went 2-9. The Giants just did not have a good year. The record is not really what I'm concerned about. He had 116 completions off of 180 attempts, 1,341 yards. Let's see how many touchdowns. For some reason, Pro Football Reference is currently not showing me his touchdowns, but Tyrod. He had 5 touchdowns last year. And for a backup, that's not all that bad. For a backup, I'll take those numbers all day. But like I mentioned, don't want to have to see him appear in a bunch of games, as we want to feel really comfortable, and we want to feel comfortable, and I don't want to have to see him all the time. But guys, type in the chat if you guys think if you think they'll make any moves today, and if so, who. Like I said, I have a weird feeling we're gonna get our wide receiver 2 today. I have a weird feeling. I don't know. Hope it's T. Higgins. Hope it's a trade for T. Higgins. Hope. Let me pull up this tweet from Rich Samini real quick, just refreshing Twitter, hoping there's a deal that can get done. Let's see. All right, on to day 2 for the Jets, who still have primary needs at offensive lineman, which they need too, and wide receiver names to watch. Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, Hollywood, OBJ, and Darnell Mooney. So he didn't put T. Higgins on that list, which I find interesting. But T. Higgins did request a trade. Who knows? Maybe the Jets don't want to give up that much to bring him in. I don't know. I'm not Joe Douglas. I don't decipher that. Offensive lineman Kevin Zeitler, Damian Lewis, Tyron Smith, Jonah Williams, and Bakhtiari. Haven't seen the Damian Lewis name a ton linked to the Jets, but the Zeitlers, the Smith, the Williams, the Bakhtiari, we've seen those names a ton. And then obviously along with Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd's name has been thrown. Hollywood has kind of been in and out of the discussions. OBJ, and then Darnell Mooney. All that comfortable with making him our just like week 1 wide receiver 2, Darnell Mooney. I just don't feel all that comfortable with it personally. Let's see. Carlos Knight. Kevin Zeitler to pair with John Simpson, Tyler Boyd, Bakhtiari, AJ Dillon would be my dream today. 2 Packers? Let's see. I agree with you there. Zeitler I would love. Zeitler is probably my favorite name on that list. Boyd, I'll agree with you on there. But I think Boyd's a good option. Bakhtiari, I do not want, but if we can get him on a vet minimum and pass a physical, wouldn't hate it. If he could pass the physical and we can get him on a vet minimum. And then AJ Dillon didn't have his best year last year, but still a solid option. I mean, the money they gave, not Aaron Jones. They just cut Aaron Jones. The money they gave Josh Jacobs good money. And then obviously Jones signed to the Vikings, which was a interesting move. But guys, other guys, type in the chat which guys you'd like to see. Carlos again. Yes, I'm a former Packers fan, unofficial included in the Rodgers trade. I like it. AJ, I don't disagree with what you were saying there with AJ Dillon and those guys. Don't 100% disagree. But if I had to have my way today, I'd probably do Zeitler and Higgins. Probably Zeitler and Higgins. Those are probably my top two right now. But who knows? I have, like I said, a weird feeling they're gonna go after a wide receiver too. Do you think they make at least one move today? Just I hope it doesn't come at 11:30 at night. Guys, if you're just joining, we're recapping the moves of the day and talking about what we think is gonna happen today. Will the Jets sign anyone or will they not? Who knows? Who knows? Unpredictable. Very unpredictable. I don't know. Just I want the Jets to make a move on stream. Why don't you just sign someone right now? Just please sign someone. Kevin Zeitler right now. Please, Kevin Zeitler right now. That's what I praying right now. Guys, we got 200 people in here. 200 people in here. Thank you for all the support. Guys, what were your thoughts on the signings last night? I really want to hear what you guys have to say. If you'd like to call into the show, pin comment in the chat, and you guys could, if you're watching on Twitter or YouTube, obviously type your questions in the chat, and I'll definitely give you I'll give you an answer to what I think or my opinion on your question. But I totally agree with what Carlos was saying there. Just please do something today, Jets. Do something. I was a little when I saw the Zeitlers, the Samson signing. I was like a little like confused, but I was like, okay, I found out they play different positions. I found out they play different positions, him and Zeitler. So we'd be able to get both. But I woke up this morning, I was checking to see if the Jets signed anyone, and a lot of tweets said Sam Darnold. So I thought the Jets signed Sam Darnold. Then I finally finished scrolling down, and then I saw we got Tyrod Taylor, which I would have been down for Sam too. I thought Sam would have been not a horrible option. Also, I would have liked either. Would have liked either of them, but do end up with Tyrod, which I don't mind. But I someone we were talking I was talking about it with Matt O'Leary on stream yesterday. There's something in Morstead's contract where he can't negotiate till Wednesday or something. So we need to wait for that to negotiate with Morstead, and then I want Hardy done as soon as possible. Hardy done as soon as possible to get that unit back. Carlos? Disappointed in the Samson signing until I realized they could sign Bakhtiari for left tackle, have Simpson at left guard, Tippmann at center, sign Zeitler for right guard, put AVT at right tackle, leading us to a draft weapon round one. Thank you for putting that in the chat, because I never really thought about it that way. That's interesting. So let me think. Tippmann center. Who would the weapon be, though, Carlos? Because there's a chance that Neighbors and Odunze are both off the board. There's a very good chance that both of them are off the board when it comes to 10. So make a follow-up question. Who do you think that weapon would be? Who would you think? Because like I said, I think Neighbors and Odunze are probably going to both be off the board by the time it comes to us. And then maybe I think are you talking about maybe Bowers? Do you think of Bowers? Because Mel Kiper's mock draft, he had the Jets taking Bowers. Did have the Jets taking Bowers, which I found pretty interesting. Bowers at 10. Very explosive. I just never really saw the Jets kind of going in that direction, if you really think about it. Another tight end. So the mock drafts, though, Dane Brugler has the Jets taking Fashanu. Charles Davis has them taking Fuaga. Jordan Reed has them taking Fashanu. Gordon McGenius from PFF has them taking Vishanu. Ryan Wilson from CBS has them taking Romo Dunze, which I don't know how that they fall. And then obviously it's like Kuiper has the Jets taking Bowers. It's really interesting. Really interesting who they have he has them passing on an offensive tackle. Take a guy like Bowers. This is what Mel Kiper had to say. The reality is it's tough to find an ideal spot for Bowers in the top 10 because of depth at quarterback, offensive tackle, and wide receiver classes. Each of those positions are valued higher than tight ends. So while I love him as a prospect, he's number 8 on my big board. It might take a trade for him to land in the top 10. That is unless the Jets take him here. Think about it. Aaron Rodgers is returning. They have a void at the position, and they might jump at the opportunity to add a pass catching tight end with a rare run after the catch ability. That there's a natural fit. And yes, New York has a bigger hole at offensive tackle. What if it doesn't totally love its options? What if it doesn't totally love its options here? I always say drafting strictly for need will get teams into trouble. So even with Olive Vishanu on the board, I'm going with Bowers Jets connection. Really, really interesting. Carlos Bowers, definitely, no question about it. He fits the Michael Mayer build from last year that JD wanted round 1 on his draft board. Remember from Hard Knocks? Yeah, I do remember Michael Mayer. I think he landed with the Raiders. And Bowers, it's really interesting. Now I have a question for you. You said, let's say the Jets don't sign Zeitler, Timmon plays guard. Would you do a trade up next year's second and obviously pick 10 to trade up 3 picks to get Joe Alt? Because I sure would. I would definitely trade up, give up next year's second, trade up 3 picks, and go out and grab what's his name, Alt, out of Notre Dame. That guy is nasty. Literally Joe Thomas. Exactly what Joe Thomas was. I think that guy is so talented. I'd still take. I'm set on either moving up or trading down. Honestly, like I obviously moving down is probably more realistic option. I'd trade down to like the 15-18 area and get this guy Fatanu. What's his Fatanu from Washington is the guy I'm talking about. He's nasty. Very, very solid tackle. Troy Fatanu. Nasty. Can kind of move him around. He's some depth. Really like him. He's Tankathon actually has them going 23rd overall, but a lot of guys there are guys like Tyler Guyton. There are guys like JC Latham. There are guys like Amaris Mims. I'm not too high on Latham, but he's still an option. Still an option for the Jets. Still there. But I think I would trade up next year's second to go get all. I wouldn't do like a third and 2/4 just because I really, we don't have a second, so we're really gonna need to hit on these picks. Don't have a second. We're really, really gonna need to hit on these picks. But day 3, my strategy: take a backup quarterback. There are good options. There are a lot of good options out there. Carlos, me personally, I would not trade up under any circumstances. Bakhtiari will start whether we like it or not. He's a backup he's not a backup in the slightest. Olu and all their pure left tackles, and we have Bach and Warren. I'm gonna disagree with you there. Bakhtiari and Warren are not. Well, Bakhtiari the age, and then Carter Warren. He's too young. I can't see him start. I'm gonna disagree with you there. I can't see Warren start. Just really, really can't. I think he's a swing guy. I think the Jets might be interested in him starting, but personally, as a fan, I really don't want to see him starting. He's too young. Way too young. Way too young, personally, as a day 3 guy who can come in and start. Trading back for a second would be the best case scenario. I agree. I totally agree. That's why I said trade back to the 15-18 area, get Fatanu. Totally agree. Troy Fatanu, Washington, you can move him around. Very, very solid player. Don't disagree with you at all there when it comes to moving down. 100%. 100%. Guys, type in the chat, should we do a full 7-round mock draft simulator with the Jets? PFF's mock draft simulator. Tell me what you guys would like to see, but no, we're talking free agency, but always good to mix in draft as the draft is a little more than a month away. So still gotta think strategy, but I feel a lot of things that we do in the draft really rely on free agency. Really rely on free agency. I think free agency is kind of like the segue to the draft, and then that's where we go and decide our draft strategy based off what really happens free agency. But I don't know. I think Douglas loves Flaga. Loves him. I think he loves him. And I do see the Jets going with Flaga, Fashanu, but my number one option is trading back for Fatanu. Don't really see the Jets trading back for Fatanu though, but that's my best case scenario. Best case scenario, we trade back for Troy Fatanu, the tackle, and you can move him around, like I said, anywhere. The player from Washington, a lineman from Washington. Guys, if you're just joining in, type in the chat. What do you think the Jets are going to do today? Do you think they're going to sign a big name guy? Do you think they're going to sign someone, or do you think they're going to sign no one? Personally, I see them making a move. I just don't think it's a Tyron Smith type of move or a name that's going to draw a ton of attention. Don't really think it's going to be a move like that. Don't see that happening. Hope it happens. Just really, really don't see that happening. That if we can get Tyron Smith today, I will go crazy. I would want it to come on stream though. I want it to happen on stream. Like I said, the Tyler Boyds, those guys, definitely more realistic for the team. They could definitely more realistic, but I still want like the T. Higgins, the Tyron Smith. The big names always draw the most attention if you really think about it. Just big name players draw the most attention by far. It was uneventful. It was uneventful yesterday, and then obviously Joe Douglas comes out right away once that clock hits 11, the 11 o'clock area. Around then, Joe Douglas finally wakes up and makes a move. Finally. Like I said, hope we get someone. Guys, I'll be on standby, of course, if they make a move. Try to go live as soon as possible. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, JETS, Jets.